Lawwin Media Network.
Bringing to you the most relevant content across all platforms.
Business, legal, politics, health, lifestyle, and entertainment.
Your source for all the news and updates in the greater Houston community from Texas and all over the world.
Get informed and empowered with Lawwin Media Network.
Good morning and good evening, Texas. Good morning, Philippines. Welcome to our show, Beyond Health and Wellness, Empowering Conversations with Dr. Rich and Nurse MJ. I am your host today, Dr. Rich, and Nurse MJ is not with me today. She has her day off, and so we are going to continue with our discussion today. So first of all, we welcome our viewers all the way from north to south of the Philippines, from Luzon to Visayas and then Mindanao and back. Welcome also to our viewers in Texas and all the way to the East Coast and in the West Coast as well. Thank you very much for being with us today. This is your podcast show, Beyond Health and Wellness. If you have some questions, you have comments, you have testimonies, or anything at all, put it in the chat and then we will acknowledge it and address some of the questions that you will have. If you have questions in our previous podcast that you have viewed after the live show, please feel free to also reach out to us with your concerns and we will be happy to provide answers and enlightenments for you. Now, I'd like to make mention that this show is about holistic health and wellness, but it's also about everything that surrounds with holistic health and wellness. This is not a program where you get a diagnostic or official advice on your health condition. You want to go to your primary healthcare provider. This show is a complement, is a not a compliment, but a supplement for those who are needing to have more information or those who want to share information with us today. So as we start in our program, we've noticed that we started with all kinds of different things, such as the feel-good hormones that our body naturally produces. And one of the most popular was the hormone dopamine, but it is also pharmaceutically and clinically prepared. So we have the dopamine, but it is abundant in our body, and there are ways to manipulate them so that we can utilize the benefits of dopamine. But just like anything else, and in excess of production is abnormal, and therefore it could also be detrimental to us. Dopamine is very highly addictive, and because it feels good, you'll be looking for that which makes you feel good and keeps looking and looking for it. It's just like narcotic or smoking or alcohol, and you want to make sure that you don't have a constant overdose of it. Right now in the United States, we have an ongoing campaign for a national election for president and vice president seats in the national government. And so there's a lot of campaign trails, campaign ads that's all going on in social media. These are all mechanisms to drive out different kinds of feel-good hormones in the viewer's body. And dopamine is when they make feel good because their candidates are aligned with them or they're aligned with their candidates, or they don't feel good because they are not aligned with it. So it works the same thing. And we have the other one, which is oxytocin. It's also, I would look at oxytocin as a pain reliever, the one that relieves you of pain. Is oxytocin, but really what it is also is the human feel, the feeling of being human, the feeling of relatedness. So those hormones that are released in your body is called oxytocin. But then we pivoted on that in our discussion to what's very popular craving for people of day to day, and that is sugar. And we talk about a lot of things that relates to sugar. And MJ has shared to us about her experiences when she's taking some kind of a food supplement that has affected her sugar content in her body, or sugar intake, or lack of sugar intake. So if you all, it's the same thing, right? It's, you feel good when you have that sugar, so your body will increase the release of dopamine because you feel good. When the sugar is down, then you don't feel good. So it's also, then you start looking for the dopamine, which is making you feel good. And what makes you feel good is the sugar. So you look for sugar. So it's a constant cycle of craving and then having an overdose of it, and crushing and then overdose of it. When you have a very high amounts of sugar in your body, you have hyperglycemia. When you have very low amounts of sugar in your body, you have hypoglycemia. So both are destructive, both are dangerous and very risky. So you want to have a normal amount of sugar, and the normal amount of sugar we found out last time we talked was that you can have 50, but that 50 is really pushing it. You want to have half of that, which is about 60 spoons of sugar every day, and that will be about 25 grams. So you want to just, 25 grams is about 6 teaspoons. So you want to just stay at that level. But really, when you just drink one soda, that's already how many? 110 uh, milligrams of 110 milligrams of sugar. So that's already a lot. Plus, you're going to eat rice, you're going to eat this, you're going to have some chips, and you have some, and then another soda. You're overdosing with sugar, right? And then there's going to be a fluctuation of that, and then you dive up, you dive down, and then you have hypoglycemia. So both have a lot of health disadvantages. So you want to stay within. Now, when we talk about sugar, we talk that there's an abundance of sugar. It's killing us. It's the one that's killing us. You want to go diet, but your diet has a lot of sugar in it. No way. There's no way. So the first thing that you would really want to do is to make sure that you are very clear about it, which is to reduce that sugar to zero added sugar, if you could, right? Now, I'd like for us to be very mindful of this, because a lot of people will do that, avoid this, avoid that, not eat this, not eat that for a day. And then after that, then they go binge again. It is very important to understand that it's not a 1 day thing, it's a constant battle until you have set your mindset to it, because it's really a mindset. Your focus about not taking more sugar influences your behavior. And when you're focused on that goal, you naturally start making choices that align with them, so that you will prioritize activities that move you closer to what you want, which is reduction of your sugar. So you really want to, first of all, influence your mindset, because we grow up, and I don't know what is the age average of our viewers, but we definitely are adults, I would assume. And because of that, we already spent a good number of years ingesting sugar on a constant automated way. So it's on autopilot, that you like a cake, you like this piece of bread, you have that rice, and you have this pancit, you have this noodles, pasta, everything, pizza, every kind of thing. You don't care. It's just, you like it. And for many, many years, and then now you said you have a lot of sugar, you have to stay away from sugar. It's just not going to be that easy. But if you are very clear about doing that, you want to take it one day at a time. In fact, hour by hour every day if you could. Now, that's a lot of hard work, a lot of hard work to bring you back to where you started before you ingest sugar on a regular basis. So you want to prioritize, but in order to do that, you want to change that mindset. In order to change that mindset, you want to have a clarity of what you want, and you align your thoughts, feelings, and actions with those goals. If you have an increase of dopamine, which is you feel good, you align that with because of the success of what? Reducing sugar or not eating any food item that has added sugar in it. We start with added sugar because most of the food that we eat already contains sugar in huge amounts. So we'll remove the added sugar first. If you can find food items that have no added sugar there, then you are in the right position. Now we also talk about now, hang on. Before we do that, we talk about changing this because it starts to influence our brains. We call that neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity means that your brain is constantly adapting and rewiring based on your experiences and focus. And in that case, sugar. You've been eating sugar all your life, and then you have to not eat sugar. So you switch. So when you're switching, you are changing your neuroplasticity because a brain is like a plastic, right? It's a plaster cast. You can shape it the way you want it, but it's also influenced on the day to day. Now, if you hang out with people who eat a lot of sugar, naturally you get to eat those sugar as well. So you want to really change that. And I remember that we talk about rice, for example. Rice is grains, right? It's composed of grains, and that's good because they're grains. But a rice, when they are grown, they're already modified or influenced by so many different kinds of vitamins or nutrients that are supplemented so that it will grow healthy. So when it grows healthy from those fertilizers, it gets it as well. And when it gets it, now that's the kind of rice we have now. There's no way we can get rice that is completely different from the one we get from, the supermarkets or groceries. But there's a way to reduce the amount of glycemic index. It's what we call the GI or glycemic index of rice. When we cook rice, after it's cooked, when it's still hot, after it's cooked, put it in the refrigerator overnight and heat it the following day and eat it the same way. When you heat it the following day, it still tastes, feels, and looks the original rice that you cook, but it has reduced its glycemic index by about 30%. So you've already helped yourself. By doing that, you've helped yourself that it's already reduced. If you have a bread, right? You have a dough or a bread, you freshly cooked baked bread, you go put that in the refrigerator and cool it. Following day, you can heat it again and you can cook it. 30% of the glycemic index is gone. And so that's a good thing to have. We will continue to talk about this at, in our discussion after a little bit of a break. This is your program Beyond Health and Wellness, empowering conversation with Dr. Rich and Nurse MJ. We'll be right back.
In a world cluttered with information, where truth is power, Law and Weekly News stands apart.
We delve deeper, uncover facts, and bring stories to light. From political showdowns and economic triumphs to the pulse of the street and the heart of the community.
We capture the moments that define us, stories that challenge, inspire, and transform.
Tune in live Sundays 8 a.m. Central Standard Time and Sundays 6 p.m.
All right, we are back. This is your podcast, Beyond Health and Wellness, empowering conversations with Dr. Rich and Nurse MJ. So let's continue about the sugar. First of all, let's have some notes. Number one, sugar is addictive. We agree with that, right? And if you have questions, please ask me, put in your chat, or even if it's just a greeting to someone else, send it along, send it our way. So let's talk. Sugar is addictive. The other one is sugar can be as addictive as drugs and alcohol. So it's the same thing. Thinking about or consuming sugar releases your dopamine in the brain, which can be difficult to avoid. And the other one is sugar can cause chronic pain. So if you want to reduce your pain, reduce the sugar first. And then the other one is eating sugar causes the release of insulin and stress hormones, which can increase inflammation and lead to chronic pain. So you'll have pain again. There's a lot of body pains or body aches that we encounter that can be treated or that can be reduced, if not gotten rid of, just by not taking in sugar. Okay. The other one is if you have sugar, you think you're full, but sugar can make you hungry. The more you have sugar, the more easily you can become hungry. So then, because you're hungry, you eat some more. So it's a cycle again, sugar. And sometimes it's not sugar, but it's a sugar derivative, or it's a carbohydrate that has a lot of sugar. Usually when it's carbohydrate, it has simple sugar. So it's still going to be sugar. And then sugar affects the part of the brain that controls appetite, making you feel hungry even when you don't need to eat. Even if you've already eaten, you still feel hungry because of the sugar. Sugar can also suppress your immune system. So when your immune system is suppressed, there is no more protection from your body, because your immune system is the army of your body that protects you from any attacks that causes diseases. So when you have an immune system that is weak or malfunctioning or not functioning at all, then it's easy to get all those kinds of diseases and infections in our body. Number one of that is cancer. Okay. And then of course other kinds of other autoimmune diseases and all kinds of infection. The other one is when you consume a lot of sugar, you can suppress the immune system by about 45% for up to 5 hours. So 5 hours, your immune system is weak. And you think, why did I have flu? I have a vaccine. Well, for those 5 hours, your body was weak. And so then you got the attack. Now, here's the thing. Our immune system is protecting our body 24 hours a day. And for one of those immune cells to be defeated, it will take about 100 or over 100 attacks before it gets defeated. When it gets defeated, because it's already too much attack of bacteria, viruses, and all of that, and then it gives up. But it takes over 100. That's how strong it is. Okay, for just one immune cell. Now remember, this is an immune system, so there's a lot of immune cells trying to protect us 24/7. And if we take a lot of sugar, it will decrease the ability of our immune system to protect us. The other one is very important, which is I think a particular popular to our viewers, is that sugar can make you age faster, right? Because of your skin. If you remove sugar in your meals, in your food intake, you can easily notice changes in your skin first. It will prevent, what do you call the thing? It will prevent you from aging too quickly. So it will, because it will sugar intake will make you age faster. It speeds up the aging process by increasing the oxidation and the cell division and breakdown in the body. And then the other one is, of course, it damages your liver. Now you know that liver, a lot of things that are metabolized in our body are metabolized in the liver, especially the medications that we're taking, prescription medications, all kinds of things, food supplements, food, everything. They are the nutrients that are that we put in our body. They are metabolized in our liver, and so. But if there's a lot of sugar, then it damages the liver, and then our metabolism is compromised. The other one is if you overload your body through overeating sugar, your body's detoxification system can be damaged also. So that's another thing to look at your liver and your kidney as well. And then too much sugar can lead to fat accumulation. You want to remove your fat belly or belly fat, remove sugar in your diet. Okay. And then the other one is that when you have all those fat accumulation, then it increases your chances of developing number one, type 2 diabetes, heart problems, number two, and number three is your fatty liver disease. There's a lot of things that you and I can do to benefit our body by just removing. First of all, we'll start with added sugar. If you have a coffee, don't add sugar. If you have tea, don't add sugar. If you have, what else do you have? I remember one time I told I talk about my mom used to put sugar on our rice. So she put sugar on our rice and put ketchup on our rice, and ketchup has a lot of sugar, and then put some sugar in it, and so it's a lot of sugar already. So but don't get me wrong, it's not like sugar is not helpful. Sugar is very helpful. It's just we are taking in excess. You take a look around you, the amount of rice you are taking with the pancit in it, and a sliced bread on pandesal, and all kinds of different pasta. All day long we're eating, and that's an overdose of sugar. Okay, so don't spoil your day, don't spoil your body. That's the only body you got. You will want to remove that sugar first. So I hope that is very clear. Now, in order to get that, no one gets there on the first day. Zero. The person that wants to avoid sugar doesn't avoid sugar on the first day and that's it. No, some people will take a lifetime to do that. But you want to be consistent and focus on what you want. You want to really be clear about what you want. If you want to improve your health, you want to focus on removing that sugar in your diet first. Okay, because that reshapes the brain, and then that supports the reality about how do you want to look like, what do you want to look like, or how do you want to live or lead your life. So it's important in that manner. Our brain, our brain, it is important for us to know that our brain has a built-in negativity bias. Anything that is told to us for the first time, for the second time, for many times, our body, our brain particularly, is opposed to it. Okay, because we are wired, that's natural, we are wired to pay more attention to potential threats and problems of survival mechanism that can hold us back. So we want, that's why there is always a negative, because of the flight or fight, right? In that's the wiring of a human condition. So what you want to do is to practice persistence. You don't want to just think about reducing or eliminating sugar in your food or in your diet today because we're talking about it, and then after we talk about it, you also forget about it. Then it's not wired. You want to wire it in your mindset. You want to be consistent about it. You want to talk about it. You want to consistently talk about ways in which you can avoid sugar. Okay, but because that is very important. Now let's relate this to some of the things that, because sometimes we're talking about sugar, we're actually talking about the human condition here, and we're talking about the holistic health of a person. And when we talk about that, we cannot isolate that. We put that together holistically, and that makes the whole human being. Now let's take a look at the most successful, happy, and fulfilled people. I think I'm happy. I say that every day, but but also I put that as a practice in my life. But now just look around you and look at those most successful people, happy people, or fulfilled people in your life, and look at them around you, and look at them and see what sets them apart. Okay, and you will notice that it's not because of their circumstances. They were born into a rich family, or they have a lot of talent, they're actors in a movie or in a teleserie, or because they're just lucky. It's not about that. They are successful, they are happy, and they're fulfilled because of their focus. Okay, so put that in. Because of their focus, you will only be successful, you will only be happy and fulfilled in your life based on how focused are you with the things you want to see happen in your life. So that's what it is. Look around you, and what sets them apart, you can recognize that, and it's focus. Now let's use that focus in getting you to your journey in reducing sugar contents in your daily diet. Use that, and focus on that. Train yourself to focus. Look at possibilities, because when you train yourself to focus on removing, let's just say, removing your sugar from your diet, every other circumstances will show up. There are possibilities that will show up. There are solutions, ways to control it, ways to remove it, or you run out of it and you don't want to buy some more of it. It's just because you focus on reducing that sugar intake. When you focus on that, possibilities will show up. You will see friends who are also in the same journey. You will see people that will keep talking about it. You will be in this podcast because you are drawn to the podcast that talks about how to avoid sugar, because that's what you want. That's what it is. The other one I would like to make mention is, okay, so I focus. So what now when I focus? You remember, when you focus, what is it that you are focusing on? Now, you want to focus on what you want to do, on what you want to see happen, not what you don't. Because if you focus on what you want, then what you want will happen to you. But if you focus on what you don't want, then what you don't want will also happen to you. Remember the dopamine, it works both ways. It also works on focus. When you focus on what you want will happen to you. But when you focus on what you don't want will also happen to you. So take a look at your focus. Maybe you're talking about avoiding sugar, but you're really not focused on it. You're really focused on not avoiding it. You want to go to the bakery, you want to go there because the craving is there. The focus is really what you don't want, not on what you want. But then if you focus on what you don't want and the bakery, right, you will end up in the sapinsa pit. We'll continue to talk about this after the break.
In a world filled with fleeting moments, there's beauty waiting to be captured. My name is Christian, and I specialize in immortalizing your most precious memories, from elegant weddings to vibrant events and timeless portraits. I am here to make every moment unforgettable. Let me tell your story through the lens. Contact me today and let's create magic together.
Are you ready for engaging conversations on education, teaching strategies, trends in the classroom?
Tune in to Teacher Talk, live Chikahan, with your hosts, Teacher Cora and Dr. Claire.
In each episode, we'll dive into meaningful discussions, share insights, and connect with fellow educators.
Don't miss out on the fun and camaraderie. Grab your coffee and join us for some lively chikahan. Every Saturday, 9 a.m. Central Time, 10 p.m. Philippines.
We're back. This Health and Wellness, Empowering Conversations with Dr. Rich and Nurse MJ. I'm your host, Dr. Rich, for today. MJ is off, and we are going to continue to talk about sugar and other forms of sugar, and we are going to relate that how that contributes to our health and wellness, and how it contributes to the overall success of a person, not just in health, but also in so many other things in a person's life. Now, before we move on to that, we're talking about other names of sugar, and there are different kinds because you are looking into your ingredients or in the ingredients that are listed in the food products that you buy from the grocery. You can definitely see different kinds of names, but sometimes you can notice that they are sugar. So some of the names that we talk about that are sugar or common names of sugar are sucrose, glucose, you have fructose, you have maltose, you have lactose, you have dextrose, galactose. These are common names of sugar. The other one is you have syrups and liquids, high fructose corn syrup, maple syrup, rice syrup, molasses, agave nectar, honey, cane sugar, invert syrup. Those are different kinds of syrups and liquid sugars. Other processed sugars, we have the evaporated cane sugar, we have the brown sugar, you have the turbinado, you have the raw sugar, you have the coconut sugar, you have the confectioner sugar. These are the powdered sugar. And then you have other alternative names of sugar. Be very careful in looking at this in your ingredients. They are called maltodextrin, you have barley malt, caramel, fruit juice concentrates, sorghum, you have the beet sugar. And then sometimes there are names that doesn't sound like they are really sugar, but they are. Some of them are called ethyl maltol. Then you have the glucose solids, and then you have the golden syrup. You have the panela. You have the date sugar. This is the sugar from the fruit date, which is very, very sweet. And then you also have the sugar alcohol, which you can look in your ingredients. They are called erythritol. So remember that they are polyol, erythritol. Those sounding, they are sugar. Sometimes they just say 1 gram of this, but that's a lot already. Okay. And then there are other things in your gum, the chewing gum. You have this xylitol. And then you have sorbitol in some of those cough syrups. You have mannitol, you have isomalt, you have maltitol, and lactitol. So you have different kinds of other names. And then you have the sugar substitute, which is very common these days. You have the natural sweetener derived from the stevia plant. Of course, that is called stevia. And then you have the artificial sweetener that's found in your soda. It's aspartame. You can also have the sucralose, which is Splenda. It is also an artificial sweetener that is found in your food items or food products. And then the last one is the monk fruit extract. This is the most natural sweetener derived from the monk fruit. It's available in the market too. So just look around and look for those monk fruit extract. It is usually comes in a tiny bottle because you only drop 1, 2, or 3 drops in your, let's say, coffee or milk or whatever you want to sweeten, and then it tastes sweet like sugar, but it is not sugar. It's a fruit. It's extracted from the fruit. So that's what we're talking about. Those are other names of sugar. Now I mentioned about the immune system, and the immune system is very important factor in our discussion because it covers everything. It's the really one reason why we're here talking about wellness. When we talk about wellness, we're talking about the wellness of our immune system. Because if our immune system is well enough, very healthy and strong, it is able to protect our body from any form of conditions or body diseases or illnesses. But if it's not, then it determines whether we have a condition, we have illness, or other kinds of infection and all of that. So it's important when you talk about food items, health, you're really talking about how you can make your immune system strong. Okay, that's really the goal there. There is a new science we call the science of nutritional immunology. They only talk about what kind of food combinations that will boost the the immune system function. So there are different kinds, and the ones that is really very popular here is the understanding that our, as humans, our food are supposed to be plant based. Okay, so we have all kinds of vegan, vegetarian, fruit only, fruitarian, all kinds of fishitarian, uh, uh, what else, carnivore, different kinds of understanding, different kinds of way of understanding this, and trying to make it look like this is their choice is healthy and the others are not as healthy, or they have better preferences. But all of them are geared towards understanding that we're all trying to defend and strengthen our immune system so that our immune system is ready and able to protect us from any form of attack of of attack from the outside environment, including pollution, including our lack of sleep or lack of regular exercise, because they come in threes, right? Regular exercise, proper rest and sleep, and nutrition. So they all come. You have all those three balance. It's like a foundation. It's like a pyramid, right? It's a pyramid. When it's balanced, you have rest, exercise, and nutrition. You're healthy. And if one of them is not focused or is not up to par, then you're vulnerable to attacks. And so your immune system will try to defend you. And if it's not able to defend you, it's only because you're not able to strengthen the immune system, or that your immune system is not strong enough. Let's say years and years of smoking. It doesn't protect your immune system, right? It doesn't strengthen your immune system, but it weakens your immune system. It's the same thing with sugar. Years and years of ingesting sugar, eventually your immune system will give in and says, I'm done. There's too much sugar. I can only do too much. And so then now it's time for those diseases to come in. Number one of them is your um, type 2 diabetes, and all kinds of heart diseases, and all kinds of infection and inflammation, and chronic diseases. So they are the most important part of why our immune system needs to be strong is because there is a disease condition that until now the entire healthcare industry or science is trying to find a cure, and that is cancer. And so then it comes in, right? But that's because your immune system is not able anymore to protect you from a cancer cell attack. Cancer cells is a pretty abnormal division of cells in your body, in a form of when it's already it- it's fast enough, it forms a tumor, right? A tumor is formed in your body. Sometimes we call that a cyst, but it's a growth, right? But a tumor is formed in your body because your immune cells or your immune system is trying to confine them so that they will not spread. They stay there, and that has to be removed, because how long will your immune system be able to confine it, right? But even if that is a tumor, the tumor is still connected to the blood vessel. So there's going to be a blood supply there, in and out of those diseases, or those malfunctioning cancer cells. So that really is a very important and serious subject matter to think about, because our body's immune system is working so hard to protect us and confining all those attacks, but it can give in because instead of helping our immune system, we help the other side that our immune system is working against, and that is the attacks of cancer cells. So it is very important for our immune system to be strong, and that's what everybody's goal is, to find those diet nutrition that will help you your make your immune system strong, so that it is able to protect you from diseases and disease conditions. Okay, now the question is, well, if I'm not able and to protect my body, or my immune system is no longer able to protect my body, and there's that this, can I still get cured? Yes, if there is a cure for that condition, then you can still get cured based on that condition if your body aligns with it. Or if there's no cure, probably you can be treated, right? These are two different things: treatment and cure. For cancer, there is no cure, so it's going to be just a treatment. Sometimes you will have a remission for that condition, and sometimes it's very quick, and sometimes it takes a long time, but all of them will still deteriorate. Okay, so it is very important to just go ahead and do as much as you can to protect your body from cancer cell attacks or diseases by strengthening your immune system on a regular basis. So that's the nutrition part. The other part of that is your rest and sleep. You don't want to just keep being awake. Sometimes we boast ourselves that I'm awake for 24 hours, I'm so good. You're not really helping your immune system. You are helping the opposite of your immune system. You are helping your body to get sick quicker and easier, because that's the other foundation of health: rest and sleep. We get about 8 hours of that. The other one is, of course, your exercise, and it has to be regular. Now, when we say exercise, we don't necessarily mean you go to the gym and up body, all of that. We mean movement. You want to keep using body movement. If you don't use it, you lose it. So it's really movement that is very important there for us to be able to meet the requirements of exercise. That is, move. If I'm sitting here for like 3 hours and just talking and talking without moving, then that's not really helping my body, does it? And it's the same thing with all of us. When we're at work, a lot of us are working, so you need to move every so often. Say, for me, I have a regimen of about every 30 minutes. I move for about 10 to 15 minutes and then go back in intervals of that. I need to move those parts of your body. And of course, walking is one of the best exercises we have. So all this, we want to make sure that those three: exercise, which is regular, and you have proper rest and sleep, and your nutrition is the one that will strengthen your immune system. And then we're talking about sugar. That's part of the nutrition. That's what it is. Okay, when we come back, we'll talk about connecting this sugar with all the other with one other item that we will talk that is related to this conversation as well. We'll be right back. This is Beyond Health and Wellness, empowering conversations with Dr. Rich and Nurse MJ.
Welcome to Season 2 of the Pink Table Talk by Dr. Carly D. Tune in and let's think pink on Wednesday. Come join as we are creating community through conversation. This is our voice. We're diving deep into powerful conversations that inspire.
We're back. This is Beyond Health and Wellness, Empowering Conversations with Dr. Rich, Nurse MJ. I'm your host today, Dr. Rich, and we are talking about the combination of factors that influence our health. And our health is our wealth, as they say. It is very important to stay focused so that we will achieve what we want with our health. You can't have a health that is up and down, up and down, up and down, because if you have a health that's going up and down, you can be very sure that it's going down eventually. So you want to keep it up and maintain it that way. Okay. So we were talking about our immune system and the role it plays in protecting us from cancer and other forms of diseases, cancer particularly, but all other kinds of diseases, because if we don't treat them or they don't have a cure, they will graduate into cancer as well. And then, so then it's going to be trouble there. But there are other forms of diseases that we could also talk about, especially the ones that are related to sugar or sugar intake or high sugar intake for that matter, because our sugar is transported to our metabolic system by way of our body producing insulin so that it will carry it through so that it gets metabolized. And if there is enormous amount of sugar available in our body, it could overwhelm our insulin, our capacity to carry that sugar to get it metabolized, and therefore there is a breakdown of that carrying capacity. When there is a breakdown of that carrying capacity, that's when you get your diabetes, right? And then from diabetes, it's rolling down from there. So, you can still make sure you are healthy and try to recover as much as you can, but you've messed up a while back, and that's where you can only connect the dots looking backwards. So you look, and that's why you are here, because of the kind of practices, habits that you have done over the course of time. So now we're talking about, okay, so I'm going to try to avoid sugar. Got it. And what are other things that are related to this? There are a lot of other things that we want to be cautious about. Our food industry is very, how do you call that one? I'd like to use the word contaminated, but it's just not appropriate. But it's that our food industry has a lot of challenges going through in terms of what ingredients we have and the veracity of those ingredients, that they don't cause sicknesses and diseases of the person that's ingesting those food products. And then one of those is the oil. We're going to talk about oil, and we are going to continue this for our next session as well, because it's such a huge and important topic. Because the thing that we need to understand is that there is no safe oil. All oils are bad. There is no good oil. That will be a basis of our discussion. Okay. Now, it is very difficult, especially for our Asian viewers and Asian followers, because it is very difficult to cook our food without oil. Okay, because we're used to that. It's part of the culture and all of that. And in understanding that, we're only going to focus on that kind of culture, because there's other cultures in the world that uses oil as well. But for us specifically, oil is very difficult to get rid of, because it's part and parcel of how we do things, how our mindset is, how we grow up, and how our culture is. It's very difficult to cook food without oil. Okay, in fact, we put it in almost every kind of food that we cook. If you go to a Filipino restaurant, you see all the food there are cooked with oil. Okay, if it's not cooked with oil, they add oil in it so that it will look and taste good to the Filipino palate. And it is very important to understand that there is no good or safe oil for that matter. There are combinations of oil, and there are different kinds of how oils are processed, or the sources of those oils that we could tolerate or we could understand how we can use it so that it will be to our advantage. But we will talk about that a lot when we meet again on our next podcast. So, the number one thing that I'd like for you to understand is there's no safe or uh, good oil. Okay, because you're thinking about, oh, I'm using this and this and this. No, as soon as it is oil, it's not safe anymore. I'm not saying you can't use that and should not, because there's no law that will prohibit us from using those oil, because they are part and parcel of how we cook our food. It's just not safe for our uh, daily consumption. And the reason for that is the way oil is processed. Okay, uh, oil is oil doesn't just come as an oil. It doesn't work that way. It comes from a source. We extracted that product from that source so that we have the oil. Okay, so some of those are, we call the virgin oil, which is pressed and it's not done anything. We just extract it naturally, and then we have the oil. The other one is processed oil or refined oil, which we use a process in order to get the oil out of a certain product or a source. For example, if the source is, let's say the source is olive, the olive fruit, we extract olive oil from the olive. We need a process, and the process to get the oil from the olive is what is very questionable, not questionable, but maybe very challenging and very somehow detrimental to the way we are now going to use oil. Because in order to extract oil from a source, you have to have a different kind of chemical. Usually it's hexane. Now we use hexane is of course a gas for our engines and all that. We use that so that it will bind to the oil content of that product, and then we can now extract it. And then we will just remove that processing content so that we have the natural oil. But how much of that content or chemical that is removed from the oil is it not complete, or how much was we can tell. And there's no safe level of no hexane, for example, content in a particular oil product, because that's why the oil is extracted, become an oil, because of the chemical process. It's just like processing your drugs and your solutions. It's processing your vitamins, right? In order to get vitamin C from an orange fruit, you want to have a process to extract that vitamin C and isolate it. In order to isolate it, you want to put a chemical there so that it will pick only the vitamin C and isolate it and put it in a capsule. That's how you get your vitamins. It's the same process with your oil. We extract it with a chemical process. Now you have an oil. And that oil is now very dangerous, right? It's not helping our body. And we can say, well, it's safe because I don't really ingest the whole bottle of it, but just a little portion of it. But we don't know how much is so much and how much is less, or how much is okay. And sometimes we put some more. And we have this practice of, when we cook with oil, we put oil in our pan or frying pan, and make sure that it is hot enough. We heat it, and we sprinkle salt or water, and then it splatters. And then when it splatters, oh, it's already hot. It's already hot enough. It's boiling. So it's time to cook our vegetables on it, our meat on it, our fish on it, and then we start cooking. By the time our oil starts boiling or splashing or smoking, it's too late. We have broken down the chemical composition of oil into a toxic form. And so, but it's still there. You can't remove it because it's combined in your meat, in your fish, and your vegetables. It's all there, but it's already broken down. It's no longer oil. It's a derivative of oil because of the heat that we heat it with. And so there's a lot of complications there that we can talk about and really understand how this contributes to our overall health and wellness, especially when we are in a family and family gatherings and regular daily routine and cooking and preparing our food, and without knowing that We are the ones that are causing all of this because we use them so that we think that I'm going to be healthy by eating this, but your immune system is not wanting it because it's ingested with so many kinds that will weaken the immune system. For example, we'll talk about meat and oil. So meat, for example, when you eat meat, after you eat meat and you have your fill, it's different fill when you don't eat meat, right? But if you're eating meat, and then after a while you feel so tired and wanted to go to sleep and take a nap because you're so tired. Your body is working so hard to metabolize, to digest the meat products that you are eating, because in that meat product it weakens the immune system. The meat product has prostaglandin, okay, that chemical substance that's natural in the meat. We call that prostaglandin. Is a protein, and that protein, when it gets into our body, it's changed into prostaglandin 2, which is what causes us to be weak. Our immune system is weak because of the prostaglandin 2 that is present in the meat that we ingest, and because it was extracted out of that, but we also cook it in oil. So now, instead of being strong, and our immune system is strong, our immune system is weak, it will work double time. First, work towards removing those products that causes it to be weak, and the other one is working double time to make sure we still get protected from the attacks from the outside environment, while already being weak. It's a lot of work for our immune system, and we are going to talk about this later when we come back. I'm so grateful for us to be here. If you have questions, if you want to ask questions for clarifications, or if you have something to tell us, share us about your experience about sugar, about dopamine, about oxytocin, about oil, anything that concerns about your health, probably exercise, or even how you get a good amount of sleep. Tell us, and would like to reach out with you. If you have questions that need to be addressed, we will also try our very best to address that, and say hi to us, and we'll always be there to recognize you. And I think we have reached the end part of our podcast today. It was very good discussion. We will continue this, and we'll continue to talk about consistency in our diet and making sure that we are doing the right thing to protect our immune system and strengthen it. And but next time we will focus on the contribution of oil to our diet and to our health condition and our overall health. This has been your Beyond Health and Wellness. This is an empowering conversation with Dr. Rich and Nurse MJ. Nurse MJ is off today, and this is your host, Dr. Rich. I'll see you back on Friday, Texas time, and Saturday morning, Philippine time next week. We will continue on with our discussion on holistic health and what we can do to strengthen our immune system. Thank you so much for being with us. Have a great weekend, everyone.